Dear John Piper, ask Pastor John. Now I'm making this video because I want to get John to answer this question, because he'll probably just blow this question off. Read this. If salvation is by grace alone, synergistic, meaning we have no part whatever to play in our own salvation, God does all the saving, and we do nothing. How do you explain this contradiction by a sermon? It's my retarded brother, by Charles Spurgeon. He gives an example of a man who came under conviction after reading his sermons. But he could not find peace with God. Presumably, no matter how much this guy asked God for forgiveness, asked Jesus to save him, gave his life to Christ, whatever, presumably. Finally, the man under conviction was given a suggestion. Maybe he got some secret sin. Maybe not a sin of commission, but a sin of omission. That you should be doing, but you're not doing. In the first place, the man was not saved. He belonged to the devil and sinned to death. That was his job description, to sin. Well, God does command us to fear God and keep His commandments. So you got a dichotomy there. Then this man, when this friend of this man said this to him, this man suddenly remembered years back having stolen, robbed a man, screwed over a man of a considerable sum of money. And he had to go back and make peace with this man, pay this man restitution before he could ask God and before God would save him. What the hell? I remember reading in a book a man asking the wife, Miss Oliver B. Green, who was the wife of evangelist, Southern Baptist evangelist, Dr. Oliver B. Green. They're both dead now. And he asked her, do I have to give up smoking cigarettes before I can get saved? And her answer to him was, God does not need your self-righteous acts to help Him save you. And yet, the fool learns by experience, but the wise learn by instruction. I'm sorry, but I want to be a fool. Experience is the best teacher, especially when all your instructors contradict one another and you don't know which one is telling you the freaking truth or half truths. In good faith, thinking they're telling you the truth, but because they're misinformed, they're really telling lies. And if what someone tells you is not the truth, it's a lie. It's either the truth or a lie. I don't care if you have good intentions. If you truly believe the earth is flat, and you tell someone the earth is flat, and you think you're telling the truth, you're still telling a lie. Do you understand me? That used to bother me when I was a kid, because I was wrestling with the difficulty of believing that Jesus never once sinned a day in His life. But if Jesus told somebody the earth was flat, or believed the earth was flat, then He was lying. So I had to make myself believe I had to force myself to believe, when I really didn't believe, that Jesus thought the earth was round. Now I believe, if you truly believe something's true and tell the truth, you're not guilty of the sin of lying. That's what I think, but you know. And Jesus was a man. He did not know the time of His second coming. So there are things He did not know as a man. It is possible Jesus could have believed the earth was flat and told someone the earth was flat without committing sin, even though it was a lie. This poor seeking sinner. It all boils down to what Charles Spurgeon said. This poor seeking sinner could not get saved no matter how much he pled with God. Well, it doesn't say he was pleading with God to get saved. We have to infer this. Nothing this man could do. Presumably, no matter how much he prayed to God and asked to be forgiven of his sins, he could not find peace with God until he went and made restitution. And then he was able to become a Christian. What if the man had died and he couldn't make restitution to this man he wronged? Would he be forever barred from being able to be saved? Not because God couldn't save him, but because his own beliefs would have prevented him from getting saved. Look, when I got saved, I stole thousands of dollars from people before I was saved. I screwed all over people. Yet when I got saved, I did not have to make restitution to any single one of them. I just went to Jesus, trusted his atonement, and gave him everything I had, which is very, very, very difficult to do. It took me 30 years to be able to get saved, to be able to turn over to Jesus everything I had. Getting saved is no cakewalk. It is. Getting saved is agonizing. It's painful. It's agonizing. It's agonizing. It's something I would not want to have to do that again. And then later in the sermon, Charles Spurgeon drives home his point that therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer thy gift. So that was right. That man could not be saved until he went and rectified things with his brother. Whoa. What about just as I am without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me. I thought you'd come to Jesus just as you are, a filthy sinner, unable to save you, and he turns you from a sinner into a saint, and then you go make peace. I thought with those you've wronged. I thought that was the way it worked. Besides, as Calvinist preacher Paul Washer once said, the problem is not that you sin. The problem is that all you ever do is sin.
It's not just an issue that you have sinned. The issue is you've never done anything but sin.
So I take it to mean, even when you kiss your wife, you're sinning if you're not saved. Even if you do, even if you give a couple of dollars to a starving kid, you're still sinning. Because you're not doing it for God, you see. You're doing it for yourself. Well, Charles Spurgeon was a Calvinist. And yet, this man was not saved when he made restitution to the man he had wronged, in order that he can come to Christ, having fulfilled Matthew 5:23 through 24. And then he was able to reach out, break through to Jesus, and Jesus could save him. Well, he was not doing this. He had not been born again, so he was not making restitution to the man who he had wronged because he loved God, but to save his own skin, so that God was so he could finally twist God's arms and get this man to save him. And besides, if you're not saved, aren't all our righteousnesses as filthy rags anyways? Because they're not done for God out of a heart of love that's been born again by the Spirit of God. And yet, go figure, this man, it boiled down to this man had to go and do a work that was a righteous act that was really filthy rags before he could get saved, according to Charles Spurgeon. You know, I'm seriously having doubts about God and Jesus. I keep on believing, but I'm seriously, if God is inconsistent in the way he works with men and sinners, I'm battling doubts, making me ask, is it really God at work in our hearts, or is it some complex psychological conditioning whereby believers construct fantasies in our hearts, which would perfectly explain all the denominations, the conflicting denominations, and the putrid lack of love and unity of doctrine amongst even the true born-again, blood-washed Christians. And let me tell you something, John Piper. If you discard this message because it's too difficult, because you can't find the answer to this question, if you sew your eyes shut so you don't have to see this message because it makes you doubt your own faith, because it's too difficult, because it challenges your faith, then you, my dear sir, are betraying the fact. Do you really believe in all this stuff we're preaching anyways? Or are you just make-believing? And let me send this. Now, I bet you I don't get an answer. And for this, I don't curse God, but I'll ask God. But will he do to me what John Piper was going to do to me? Ignore me. If he does that, that curses God. And here's the excerpt of the sermon in question by Charles H. Spurgeon. You can read it for yourself. Now the part where he quotes Matthew 5:23 through 24, I didn't screenshot that part of the sermon when I was reading this. But here, you can read it for yourself. Right here. I'll read it to you. I would further suggest that there may be some who are really seeking to believe, but they do not find peace because of some sin of omission. Does that open a window anywhere to any of you? Keep in mind, this is Charles Spurgeon, the Prince of Preachers. It is not so much that you are doing wrong as that you are not doing right. Not doing right? We're a sinner, for crying out loud. According to Paul Washer, all you can do is sin. How in the hell can you be expected to do right in order to get saved when you're a sinner and not saved in the first freaking place? Damn. You are forgetting some positive duty, and it is that which separates you and your God. I have had some very curious experiences which I may never tell, so that the person about whom I relate them will not be known. There was one which happened so long ago that I may tell it without fear. A man, through reading my sermons, was convinced of sins. He sought the Savior, but found no peace. He was a long time in darkness, and at last it was suggested to him that perhaps he found no peace with God because of some wrongdoing that remained unforgiven. Unforgiven? I thought God had I thought you came to God because you were unforgiven. You wanted to be forgiven. What, do you have to be forgiven by the man he wronged too? What if the man decided not to forgive him? Okay. It appeared that some years before he had robbed a person who was not aware of the theft. He had taken a large sum of money, and he could never rest till that amount had been returned. I never saw the man who had been robbed, and I had to rack my brain to find a way by which I could return the large sum of money. So this guy's having to work for his salvation. God will not save him until he makes restitution to this man. This man has to commit self-righteous acts, which are a really filthy rag, for God will relent and save him. I thought God saved you as you were and then changed you. But is God even real? Okay. I managed the business, and I had the receipt for the money. Now I've never heard it work, but anyways, if you read further, God finally granted him peace. Charles, which makes me ask, is getting saved really God doing the saving, or is it us making peace with our own wrongdoings and our own beliefs about who God is? Is it really God, or is it our own beliefs? And because of this confusion, I curse you, God. I curse you. This is the reason we have so many denominations and conflicted. And what makes me doubt is God's real is the people who believe in God don't love one another. Or they love one another with a superficial saccharine type of love. But you let a congregation of Calvinists, they're saved, they're supposed to love one another, they're fellow believers. You let one of those diehard Calvinists become an Arminian, and these Calvinists will drop him like he's not hot. They'll no longer go and visit him when he needs help. I thought believers were supposed to love one another because they were believers, because they had the Spirit of God, not because they were fellow Calvinists also. And here's the verse of Scripture that Spurgeon quoted. Oh shit! I cut out a part of this. You see, that fucking pisses me off. I cut off. You get the picture.